This is the Excel sheet to keep track of your marketing campaign. So here it is. On the left-hand side, it just says attorney. You just put all the attorneys from the top down on the left-hand side. And then each column represents what should be done. So it says column 1 says binder drop-off date. So what's the date of the first binder? Binder 2, drop-off date. Binder 3, drop-off date. Binder 4, drop-off date. What's happening? What are we doing with each of these binders? What's in them? We already talked about it earlier. Publicity and advertising. Publicity and advertising. Pre-selling them. That's what's happening with all these. Okay? Now, as you go further over, it does a follow-up, and it gives, you can see here it says sales presentation date. After the sales presentation date, 24-hour pre-sales meeting. Because in the sales presentation, we're going to set up a meeting for the sales presentation. One day before the meeting, we want to call and confirm 2 things. Number 1, did they get a chance to watch the last video? Number 2, does the meeting date still work for you? Why do you want to call the day before to see an attorney and see if the meeting is still on? Because it happens too much. You don't want to wait till the next day and find out an hour before the meeting, oh yeah, doctor, he couldn't make it. It's reaffirming that he'll be there, and also reaffirming that they got a chance to watch the last video. And I'll just tell you this, never meet with an attorney who doesn't watch these videos. Why? Knowing what you know now, you should know better. Never do a sales presentation who has not watched these videos. Why? We have an established need and the wall's still up. How big is this wall up? It's huge. You are creating one massive problem for yourself. You are making it unbelievable harder because their defenses and resistance are so much higher and their confidence and trust is so much lower. Never do a sales presentation until they've had a chance to watch the video. Some of you guys have been using the advertisement video. Have you started using it yet? Have you started using it yet? Not yet? Winston, have you started using the advertisement video yet?
Yes.
When he does this, I'm not sure I like that. Yes, I'm not sure I like that. Which means not really. Okay. All those are mistakes. Do you understand the mistakes you're making right now? Did you meet with an attorney to do a presentation yet? No. Okay, so he hadn't started. He's starting. Now, we made a mistake with you, and then we came back and said, don't do that again. Did you meet with another attorney and do a presentation? Not yet? Okay, all right. But do you understand how much harder and difficult you're going to make this on yourself by doing a cold call presentation? You're just asking to get your butt kicked. I'm a black belt. I wouldn't do it. You know what happens when doctors call me? This is how important it is. Doctors call me for my services, right? Every now and then I'll say, how'd you hear about me? They'll say whatever. And I'll say, did you get a chance to watch the video on the front page yet? And the ones that say no, guess what I say? Here's the website. Go to that. Watch the video. After you watch the video, if you have any interest, call me back. Why did I do that? All those things I talked about. To decrease their defenses and resistance, increase their trust and confidence, increase their awareness, interest, and desire. It's all those things I talk about. I'm not going to waste my time because it's going to be unbelievable difficulty. Plus, I'm going to have to explain it all and waste my time just explaining it. I go, no. I put them on hold. I go watch the video. If you have a further interest, by the way, if they watch the video, what's the likelihood they have a huge interest? They're calling back. So watch the video, call me back. If you have an interest, call me back. And then I say, by the way, did you sign up? Have you signed up yet for my newsletter on the site? I don't say newsletter. I said, have you signed up for my free personal injury seminar I got a little free personal injury seminar. I said, have you signed up for that yet? If they didn't, I say, well, just sign up right there. I give a lot of good free information in a nice little 2-3 hour free personal injury seminar. Why do I do that? So even if they don't call back, I got them in my communication network. They're in the loop. They're in the loop. They're going to start getting information that's called pleasure, logic, fear, and multiple contexts, and it's going to affect trust, defenses, confidence, and resistance. Do you see how this works? Makes sense, right? Okay. Okay, so the day before you call, set up video newsletter. When you're at the meeting, you'll see after you do the sales presentation, you do two things. We're going to ask for the referral. By the way, all you got to do is read it. You'll see it. We'll see it in a second. And then we asked if it's okay if we put them into the video newsletter. And those are tips that we send out, weekly tips on how to stop lowball offers and win policy limit awards. If you give me your email, I'll sign you up for that. So when I leave that presentation, I not only want the referral, what do I want? I want them in my net. And what are you guys doing when you're meeting all these people? You're coming in and they're leaving. You don't keep them in your net. Put them in your net. Keep them in there. Help them. Support them. Because that's what's going to give you business. Okay? Does this make sense? All right. And then let me follow. I'll do a better job following up with the details. But here's the sequence of follow-up. After the presentation, there's the referral. We want them into the newsletter, the weekly newsletter that we talked about. Then what's the next thing we want to do? We want a monthly phone call from the doctor, not a staff member. And here's what's the purpose of a monthly phone call? So you put on your calendar, like say the first Tuesday of the month, attorney phone calls, personal injury attorney phone calls. We're not talking about a whole lot here, are we? And let's say if there's more than 3 or 4 or 5, then do it on Tuesday and Wednesday. Just put 5 on Tuesday and 5 on Wednesday, right before lunch, okay? What's the purpose of that monthly phone call? Keep your top of mind consciousness. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And you only say this. Hey, this is Dr. Paul. Just wanted to see if I could help you with any of your cases. Now, you know what's going to happen a good percentage of time right now? Huh? No, not a good percentage of time. I can't tell you how many times this happens. Hey, this is Dr. Paul. Just want to see if I can help you with any of your cases. Yeah, I was thinking about you. I got this case. I can't tell you how many times that's going to happen. I can't tell you. You think it might be worth calling 5 or 10 attorneys once a month just as a reminder that could increase your business $250,000 or more a year? You think that might be worth your time? Yeah, there's not going to be anything else more worth your time. Unless you want to do a screening in a mall for 8 hours. You're chiropractors. Believe me, a lot of you guys would rather do that. Because you don't know any better. Okay. Monthly call. That's the bare minimum that I recommend, by the way. The bare minimum is get them into the newsletter, get them into the regular communication, and the monthly phone call. That's the bare minimum. Now, in addition to that, the next thing, I'm kind of taking you through the sequence of start to finish, okay? The next thing is, when they refer you a patient, on the very first re-exam of that patient, of the first patient they refer you, meet with them. Do not do this over the phone. Meet with them and let them know that you'd like to go over the tentative results of the patient and how they fit into the 3 categories of stopping lowball offers and winning policy limit awards. You want to do a checklist. You want to take that person and you want to walk them through the checklist. It's tentative. It's only the first re-exam, right? So there's going to still be changes, right? So we're going to say it's tentative. But what is the purpose of this? Here's the purpose of it. It is not that you have a great case, because that's what happens so often is doctors get a referral and they hope they have something good, that it's a big case. And what you don't understand is that's not what's important. What's important is that they know you understand all those 5 categories of how to put a case together and win, and that you're also reinforcing to them what they don't know and what they do need to do. That is the single most important thing you can do. And that's the purpose of that meeting. It's not. So don't worry if you don't have much of a case. Don't worry about it. That's not the purpose of it. And so all you want to do, and by the way, that is the time when they will listen to you the most. Why? They already know, trust, and like you to some degree, or they wouldn't have sent you the patient. But what's the other reason? You got their money in your hand right now. You got their client. That is the time where they will listen the most. And when you do that, that's when they're totally cooked. That's when you own them now. That's when you will own them. Because, there's awareness, interest, all that. But when you go through, and on that first re-exam, now you're and by the way, it's personal now, it's not hypothetical. It's a real live patient you're talking about. It's personal. Go through that checklist and go right through the top 5 financial drivers. And remember, it's okay to say they don't have a financial driver because that creates credibility when you say they do. Don't think you got to have every box checked. That's another mistake. And what you do, the only purpose is to reinforce to them that you are doing a bang-up job in how you put all these cases together and all this information, even if this patient doesn't have a positive. And you're reminding him what he doesn't have. And you're the guy. That's the most important reason for that meeting. You only need to do it to the first meeting. That's it. That's it. Now, I do have doctors that'll do that regularly to increase and solidify your knowledge base and the relationship. Now, do it for the first one, and then also with your first narrative report. Your first narrative report. Do not just send it to him. You've got to go over and educate him. You've got to educate him on the flow of the narrative report, how you put it together and why, and how it all comes together. You guys have seen my narrative report. How sequential is it? How logical is it? How much common sense does it make? You guys, my clients. Go through the narrative report. The first one. Now, after you've sold them and you got the relationship going, that's okay. But the first time for new attorneys, do this. It helps drive home this and solidify the relationship. Okay? So the narrative report, walk through, here's how we put it together, and you'll see, when you see my narrative report, you'll see why. It's exactly the 6 steps to tell the story and win the case. It's data, mechanism of injury, subjective, hybrid, objective findings, therapeutic protocol, response to treatment, MMI, impairment, prognosis, need for future care, and then we apportion any pre-existing injury. Signed. That's why so many of these attorneys literally take this narrative report and they file it for the injury claim. Because it has not only all the data, all the changes, it has the permanency factors, and it sequentially totally builds the case. What I just told you is my narrative report. How much sense does it make if I say, put all the data, right? Therapeutic protocol, response to treatment, okay? Then I come in and I go, here's mechanism of injury, cause and effect relationship. Then I go to the next category, which is here's the subjective findings, here's the hybrid subjective and objective, and here's the totally objective findings. How much sense am I making to you right now? Then I'm going to my therapeutic protocol. This is the treatment I did based on the 3 phases of healing and their biomarkers. How much sense does that make? By the way, this is exactly how the deposition's going to go and trial's going to go. This is how I'm going to talk to a jury too. There's a little more to it, but this is the meat of how it all works. And then after I go to therapeutic protocol, response to treatment, here's the biomarkers based on the 3 phases of healing. I'm left with MMI, and then I got my impairments. From there, I go to prognosis, need for future care. How much sense and logic was there right there? Now, I'm telling him this. I'm educating him this. This is what my paperwork shows. And then the last part is pre-existing. I'm going to now, if there's any pre-existing, I'm going to portion pre-existing from the new injury, and that's now going to be the percent responsible of apportionment for this injury. You're the attorney. Now, this was the first time you heard this, right? How much sense did that make to you?
Totally clear.
That's what you do to the attorney with a narrative report. Compare that to just handing them your narrative report. Do you see the difference? Mm-hmm. So you're educating the attorney on your narrative report and how effective it is. Can you see why the attorneys who only ask for medical reports are screwed? Compare that you're just going to give him copies of your medical records as opposed to a narrative report that I just put together like that. Can you see how he's screwed with that case if he just gets copies of those medical records? And the only reason they ask that is because they're uneducated. They're uneducated, and they're just trying to get around the narrative report bill. They don't know the value, and they don't know the value because you guys don't give value. You didn't learn value. Most of you guys never learned how to do a narrative report. It was just usually it was crap. This isn't crap. So we give them value. Can you see that gives value? But then you're educating them. Now what's happening to your value once again when you do this? How indispensable are you becoming right now? That's how you get referrals. You give value. Now, after everything I just said to you with the presentation, and you haven't even seen the presentation yet. We go through the checklist. We do the narrative report. We're educating him and building him to help him with his business, right? How much are you going to feel like asking me to cut my bill right about now? It's not going to happen. How much are you going to say to me, you send me a patient, then I'll send you one? It's not going to happen. Can you see why it's not going to happen? That's why it doesn't happen, and that's why it didn't happen with me. It's by creating that kind of value. Now, what's the next step in the sequence? Those are the bare minimums I recommend. Here's the supplemental ones. That's the bare minimum. Here's the supplemental ones. If you want $1 million practice, you do these next 3 steps. Number 1, you do happy hour continuing education. I call them happy hour continuing education presentations. And I go in on how to do this. So all the attorneys are inviting to a restaurant, do it on a Thursday night, and it's a continuing, you give free food, free appetizers, couple drinks, and it's at least 1 hour of continuing legal education, maybe 2. Say it's a 3-hour, I would do a 3-hour thing, maybe from 6 to 9, 6:30 to 9:30, and I'd do maybe 2 hours of legal education. But when you add legal education, free dinner, and a couple drinks, you have a high likelihood of getting them there. Plus the topic you're going to talk about. What's the topic? It's how to stop lowball offers and win policy limit awards. Okay? And then you come, it's a little bit of social, you do the presentation. What's the presentation? It's a mini sales presentation. That's all it is. It's an apportioned, it's one slice of the sales presentation. That's all it is. We cover pleasure, logic, fear. Pleasure, logic, fear. We ask for the referrals. That helps sell, continue, and support. I recommend you do that at least quarterly. Every 3 months, do a happy hour. And I would not only invite the attorneys, I would invite all my personal injury team players, MRI center. Matter of fact, I would coordinate it with the local MRI centers. MRI centers are usually very good at these kinds of things. Coordinate it with the local MRI center and invite your other team players, the medical doctors, the pain management person, the neurologist, okay? Invite your other players. If you want to be big, this is how you get to be the $1 million player now. And then the last piece of the puzzle, there's 2 more pieces of the puzzle, is I would recommend you give a 1 hour continuing lunch down at the county courthouse, a restaurant that's right at the county courthouse, because all the attorneys are at the county courthouse, you know that, right? Do a lunch and learn once a month down at the county courthouse, free lunch, and 1 hour continuing legal education with the topic, how to stop lowball offers when policy limits. And it's one slice. You're not going to be able to give the whole presentation there. It's one slice of the information, okay? You'll see what I mean when I show it to you. What do you need to do to get continuing education hours? We talked about that earlier. All it is an outline and submit it. Where's it happen? When's it going to happen? This is the outline. You submit it to the bar. They give you a number. Whoever shows up gets the number, and the attorneys, they take that number and apply for continuing education hours. That's how simple it is. I'm telling you, continuing education hours is very good. Very good. You offer food and continuing education hours, that is a very good attraction. So that's the next one. The very last one. By the way, what I just told you, I had a client do that. 1 year, he got 325 referrals. 325 personal injury referrals. Multiply that times your case average. He had 2 associate doctors to process the business. He retired early. 324 referrals he got. Around that many a year. Do it down at the courthouse. Why? That's where they're at. One of my doctors did this and he made a mistake. He did it at his country club. Well, what did they have to do? They had to get in a car and drive. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. He wanted to influence them with his country club. Don't do that. When you do it in a room, get it in a room down there that has a private area, like, have a little private area restaurant. Go down to the courthouse, find out what restaurant down at the local courthouse has a private room. You always keep it at the same location, same time, same day. Consistency, familiarity. Don't change it. So it's, and by the way, what day is it best to do it on? Friday. Friday's when they have the least schedule on their card. Friday, lunch and learn. I'll do the first Friday lunch and learn. Same location, same time. And do it for an hour and a half, say like 12 to say 12 to 1:30 or say 12:30 to 2. Give the first half hour for just people to get there and start drinking and eating and socializing. After an hour, to let everybody settle in, then comes your hour presentation. And that's the continuing education hour. That's how simple it is. I started that right here in the Tampa area. I've got a network of chiropractors right now to feed off my personal injury patients to that I'm selling. I just started on that. The last thing is do at least an annual or a biannual full day. And name it after yourself. The Dr. So-and-so Personal Injury Conference. Do a full Saturday, 8 hours. This is how you become an authority, guys. You become the speaker. Be the speaker and you will naturally become the authority. And then do your annual, say it. It's the Dr. So-and-so annual Personal Injury Conference. You want your name on it, and you want personal injury on it, and conference on it. And here's what you do. It's 8 hours, so there's 8 hours of continuing education. I go into greater detail. I'm just kind of giving you the short version. But you can get other suppliers that can come and give short presentations and that actually pay for everything. Pay for the room, pay for the food, because you're going to pay for their lunch. So you can get the other suppliers and you can actually bring in an MRI center, the orthopedist, neurologist that deal with disc surgery, whatever, and let them have the stage for 30 minutes or an hour and make them pay, charge them a little bit for the whole thing, the room and the food. There you go. Very easy. No big deal. But you're the featured speaker. You need it. Okay? Now, if you don't want the featured speaker, I'll come in and do the first one for you. For a fee, I'll come in and do the first one for you. How many cases did I tell you that when that chiropractor brought that attorney? How many cases did he get the next Monday? He got 13 the next Monday. Got 13. Your attorney came. Did he not want to do business with you after he got my seminar? Yeah. But eventually you want to be on the stage because you want to be the authority, right? You want the business. But even if you don't want to talk, even if you don't bring me, you can still hire a speaker. Speakers only cost $1,000 or $1,500 a day. That's it. You can still hire a speaker. And who would you hire? Just hire an attorney or hire a speaker that the attorneys already have a high interest in. So just call the Bar Association, talk to the president or the treasurer and say, what topic, I'm talking about the Trial Lawyers Association. Call them and say, hey, what topics and speakers, what are the top 3 topics and speakers that the attorneys like? And they'll say this, this, and this. But even if you do that and they do their topic, make sure you always allot time for you to give your sales presentation. The worst thing you can do is have all these, like what my client did, had 50 attorneys there, and he doesn't even give a sales presentation. That's the worst thing you could do. So even if you don't want to be the main speaker, that's how you can hire a speaker of high interest. Somebody they already know and that they want to hear from. But always make sure you've allotted 2-3 hours for you to do your whole sales presentation. The whole thing, okay? Now that's if you want to go big. That's for the people that are, and I got the guys that do $1 million a year, they're doing that. The guy that you just heard earlier, that he just increased his business from nothing to $1 million, he's now doing continuing legal education seminars. The other guy you saw on here increased his business $1 million, opened his second PI office, they're opening their third PI office. He's doing continuing legal education seminars now. You really want to go big? Start doing continuing legal education seminar. The easiest way to do it is the lunch and learns. That's the easiest way. The 1 hour credit, serve them lunch down at the courthouse first Friday every month, lunch and learn. Send the notices out. How many notices do you want to send out beforehand? 3. I want to send at least 3 postcards as 2 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 10 days out, 5 days out, and then I want a phone call. I want a phone call 3 to 4 days before the event. I want to remind them of the lunch and learn. Are you going to stop there? Are you going to be there? So I got my list, right? And by the way, these are also people that you haven't talked to at all. These are people you have talked to, people you are doing business with. These are people that you haven't talked. This is you're all personal injury network marketing. It doesn't matter where you're at. These people are all coming there, okay? It reinforces your existing relationships, gets them to see you're an authority. It starts to introduce new people into your network. You see how this works? And so you got your list, got your location, you got your date, send them, get your list, 3 postcards, 2 weeks out, 10 days out, 5 days out, call them at least 2 to 3 days before the event, remind them what's happening, tell them the red meat, continuing education, 3 hours, here's the topic, are you going to be there, yes or no? That's how you remind them to set it up to get them there. Remember, how many do you need? How many do you need? How many of these attorneys do you need to sell in a presentation to increase your business $250,000 a year? 3. So maybe you shouldn't do it. Maybe you shouldn't do it. Maybe it's too much for you, right? Maybe it's too much. Maybe you still want to go do that mall screening. Or maybe you just want to do that Facebook pay-per-click ad. That's not going to increase your business $250,000 a year.